Hi, everyone. We're going to be talking about some vocal things. We're going to be speaking on our journey through singing through fear. Because how many know it's a journey? Yes, definitely. Definitely a journey. And all right, so I have a wonderful, wonderful, lovely guest coming on with me. And so let's go ahead and bring her up now. Drum roll, please. Miss Marilyn Wright. Yay!
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Marilyn.
Can you see
Okay.
me?
Yes.
The,
Okay.
the only thing is I can't. Oh, wait. For your Instagram one. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, I got to add you in here on Instagram too. Oh, did I do that right? Okay. There we go. You know we're amateurs at this, but that's all right. Okay, here we go. There we go. We're there.
Okay.
Oh,
Find you
okay.
here.
So let's figure this out. Okay. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Let's see. I don't want the feedback. Let me see here. Let me turn that down. Okay. Say something.
What you say?
Okay, that's better. Good. Good. Okay. Let's see if I can bring this closer. Ooh, that's crooked. Oh, look at you,
Okay,
Marilyn.
so, we had to whip something together.
You look so nice. How are
Thank you.
you?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
So I'm just gonna give a quick, brief, little story of how our history. So um, Marilyn is my good friend. We've been friends since college. So since about 20. When did we meet? 2012? Yeah, I think 2011 or 2012. Yeah, one of those.
The good old days. I miss it.
Exactly.
I miss Boston.
You miss Boston?
Mhm.
I'm sure it misses you too. Yeah, I miss it sometimes. Yeah, those were fun times. And so, yeah, so Marilyn and I went to the same college, Berkeley College of Music, and yeah, that's basically how we met, and just became good friends right away, and been friends ever since. Been besties ever since.
Yes.
So yes, and Marilyn is a phenomenal vocalist, a gospel artist, and a singer songwriter, and oh, and we got a dog in the
Sorry
back.
sorry about that.
Yes, doggies. Yes, and yeah. So thank you for being here with us, Marilyn. Anything that you wanted to
You're
say?
welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here. And out of all people, you, Leah, you are such a wonderful artist.
Hmm.
Just as your friend, like how you can tell people that they sound good, and it's like you can mean it, but it's not like eh. Some people just tell their friends that they sound good just to tell them because that's their
Mhm.
friend, not really because they really think they sound good.
Yeah.
So, but with you, you are really, really good, and you're truly an artist, and
Wow.
you sound wonderful, and you really take the craft of performance serious, and that's one thing that I can say about my friend. So yes,
Thank you,
yes,
Marilyn. And
you're
same to
welcome.
you. You are awesome. You still be making me cry with them vocals. I be like, whew,
Thanks.
that girl singing down. So yes, awesome. Well, I'm excited to go ahead and talk about fear. I mean, fear is such a huge thing, of course, in life, and definitely in performing. So we're gonna get into it now. What what is your relationship to stage fright and anxiety, performance anxiety, just fears in singing? What's kind of been a little bit of your journey with that?
Yeah, so some people may be surprised, but with me, singing live, I have dealt with anxiety and fear a lot before performances, and it took. Well, I got my phone in the way of the Facebook. Sorry about that. Trying to have two cameras at one time, but it took me a while to actually realize that that's what it was. There was one performance, and I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I guess I just dive on into it because it's stuff that's coming to mind as I'm recalling the time when I had when I was dealing with this fear, and there have been multiple times, but there's one situation, one time where I remember it. I feel like it's like the most memorable to me, and I feel like it kind of affected me the most, but I felt like I learned a lot from it. I'm trying to get my charger. But so there was a situation where um at this particular event I dealt with like a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety, like off of stage first. Let's just start there. Off of stage. Haven't even hit the stage yet, but I dealt with, hey Dexter, I dealt with a lot of fear just beforehand, even before it got time to get to the stage. And what that looks like is my mind was racing, like going through lyrics, you know, trying to go through dance moves, um, just going, trying, just rerunning the performance through my head before I even got on stage, and it was just a constant. That's from the Looney Tunes for those who don't know. But anyway, it was like my mind was racing like that, and so um, I didn't know it, but I come to realize that was anxiety and fear, and I just was dealing with that. And some of you may not know this, but whenever you deal with a lot of anxiety and fear, for some people that can cause them to develop what you call dry mouth. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that, but let me tell you, it's a thing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to charge. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's a thing. Dry mouth is a thing, and what dry mouth is basically the inside of your mouth gets dry, and it gets drier than normal. Drier than normal. So like how you can have um a normal get up inside of there, everything's going normal. You know what that is, but once you get nervous, all of that changes. It's like basically what's happening is your heart is and everything is telling your mind, uh-oh, panic, panic.
Right.
Um, so it's like those fear and threat indicators that's telling your mind, uh-oh, we're being threatened. And so that's a way for our body to try to cope with the threat that it feels is coming on, well,
Mm-hmm.
what appears to be a threat. So that has happened to me where I've experienced dry mouth, heart racing fast, mind racing. I mean, everything before I even hit the stage. But one of the things, well, I'll say two things. Maybe so there's something that comes to mind as it relates to what we can do to prevent the fear. And then I have something I feel like has really helped me when it came down to combating the fear. So
Mm-hmm.
Leah, where would you want to start for
Yeah,
me to tackle that part?
that's good. That's good. What I kind of want to start. What do you feel is initiating that fear?
Mm. I think in the past it's a few things. I think one of the things that can initiate that fear is just the unknown of the audience, not knowing the audience. there was another layer to this particular day. That day I was in a competition.
Mhm.
So it's not something where usually you can be laid back. Well, I mean, you can, but in this case, it's, it was a competition.
Mhm. Higher
You're
pressure.
competing. There were lots of people competing. Um, and it's kind of like a lot was at stake. You have people traveling from out of town. You know, it's it's such a big deal that it's all of these different factors that's pushing this event up as to where, ooh, you can't mess up. You got to do your best. You got to bring your A game. So it's all of this pressure, and
Yep.
that's what I want to say. That was present. It's pressure. It was a lot of pressure,
Mhm.
and I think one of the things that comes to mind is that preparation. I
Mhm.
think with this particular performance, um, I feel like this was a performance that I hadn't necessarily prepared like I should have. And so when you have that and then you have added pressure, those two things aren't a good mix.
Mm-mm.
So it's like with any performance, there's always already going to be this level of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like just having people in the audience, that's I feel like that's a level of pressure right there because you're dealing with people's personalities, you're dealing with people's spirits, like with with what people dealt with during the day. Like um I know we're not talking about spiritual things, but I feel like it's related. But when you talk about an audience, although we can see people, like when we go to perform anywhere, it's this thing that's called an atmosphere. So
Mhm.
it's like all those things that we can't see, there's things that people are dealing with in their minds. There's things that people are thinking about, and so it's like as a performer and as someone delivering that message, it's like we have to be prepared. Here's that word again. We have to be prepared to one deal with the pressure that's there, um, and still be able to deliver under all of that pressure.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. Preparation is a biggie. And I know for me, when I don't feel prepared, I definitely, the nerves are a little more loose, a little more loose and free as far,
Yeah,
versus me in control of them.
yeah.
So definitely. And then, of course, you have the natural just pressure of the performance itself. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
I
Okay,
think you got a little bit of echo.
a little bit of echo
Yeah.
back here. And so, what do you feel would help you be prepared? Hey, Eddie. Hey, Fabio. What helps you to be prepared?
Yeah, great question. Oop, there's a phone away. I think what helps me to be prepared is starting on the preparation for the performance right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, really just having all of the background information, such as how many songs, the audience that you're coming to perform for, um, who's the people, what's the purpose of the event, and usually these type of things are things that, let's say, a booking agent would handle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have somebody like that, if you don't have a booking agent, these are things that you have to take care of yourself and make sure these things are handled. But
Mm-hmm.
in being prepared, it starts from the details of the event. So where is it? What's the space in which you'll be performing? So have you taken a look at the stage where you'll be? Um, have you, just did basically like a big picture of the space, knowing what could potentially be barriers during the performance, just different things like that. Yeah, and I feel like it's something that maybe a booking manager would do, but that's important information to have when we talk about being prepared for a performance. So knowing the space that you're going to be in, um, also, like I said, knowing your audience, knowing who you're going to perform for, what's the purpose of the event, and it's like you don't want to choose songs that aren't appropriate for the event. That's a part of your preparation. So if you see your audience maybe giving you certain types of looks, or maybe your audience isn't quite tuning in, well, that's a part of that preparation as well, knowing what's appropriate for the event. And so I feel like if we just are wise on the front end and make good choices to,
Exactly.
set us up for success, then we'll be much better off and more prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and then also in terms of the song, one thing that I like to do, I like to think of preparing with learning a song like school. For me,
Yes.
flashcards were writing out
Yep.
words. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I used to have to write out vocab words 100 times and things like
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So everybody is different, but for me, one of the things that has helped me to prepare is studying. So we to prepare, we have to study the song that we're singing. So we can't just get up there and not really know the words. We can't get up there and not really know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So studying the words, memorizing the words, but also studying the meaning of the song.
Mm.
And it's kind of like when you study the song becomes a part of you. The meaning of it gets like deep down in your mind and into your
Yep.
spirit. And I think that helps us to be more connected with the song. And when we perform it, the audience can tell. So another thing that comes to mind is when it comes down to more of singers where we're more of musicians, where you may have a piece where you have to perform using sheet music. Or let's say you don't have sheet music. I really believe that being able to look at sheet music, looking at where the music changes are, um, looking at where there's different cadences in the song, or um, the dynamics of the song. And I feel like looking at all of those different pieces of the song also helps us to be prepared, because we know, like, we know what's coming. We know what dynamics to use vocally because we've studied the format of the song. So
Exactly.
I feel like this is another way to prepare. And it has certainly helped me. But when I don't do that, I definitely know the difference.
You feel it.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
those are some things that helps
I
to
agree with
prepare
that.
when we talk about preparation.
Yes, definitely studying it just like you study, anything else. I totally agree, and especially for me, like lyrics. As I get older, we old now. Not kidding, but
How old
yeah,
are
exactly. Yeah. Yes.
you?
But as we age, and this is really honestly not even just aging thing. It's just I think it's a lack of studying,
Mhm,
for me personally. And when I don't study the song like I need to, I
mhm,
definitely feel the difference. And I'm infamous for forgetting lyrics to my own songs. So it's like when I don't really take that time
mhm,
to get in that song and prepare, I'm definitely going to, be forgetting words and, things like that. And that's never a good look. Obviously, I'm an improviser, so I can make up something on the spot. But, you really want to, um, get in that music so you're completely confident in the lyrics, and that one thing is not a hindrance to your performance. So
yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. And there's this app that I like actually, that helps me with my lyrics. That's what I was looking for just now. It's called Memorizer, and and it's oh, I think we lost you. I think we lost you. Let me see. Are you still here on Facebook? Okay, you're still here on Facebook. Where'd you go on Insta? Let me come back here.
Let's see.
Yeah, so there's an app called um, Memorizer. Okay, you still here on Facebook. Where'd you go on Insta?
Yeah, I got it.
Memorize is a memorization tool,
App called
and I really like that. It
Memorizer.
has a few different ways to just help
Memorize
you
is a memorization
um,
tool,
Okay.
and I really
memorize
like
your
that. There's
your lyrics.
has a few
Okay,
different
I don't
ways
see you
to
on here.
just
Let me
help
see here.
you um,
I
memorize
see you on
your
here.
lyrics. Okay.
You still live on Facebook?
On here.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. You try to maneuver with your finger and
Still
the
live on Facebook?
Yeah,
How
I'm
do I
here.
get you? How do I get you back in here?
Ooh, you know the way that they have Instagram, your finger can easily
What
um
that finger doing?
change things.
Let me see. Okay, here we go. A moderator. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let me take that away then.
So let's see.
Says you can't be a moderator and
Oh,
okay.
let's see. Hold on.
Remove as moderator and
Oh, wait a minute.
okay. I
Okay, here it
invited
is.
you.
It's
Mine
coming.
should see. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, so there are different ways to practice, your lyrics, but really just got to take the time, because
Yeah.
I know, if I'm rushing through stuff, that's not enough time for me. So that's definitely a big part of my preparation. And once I feel good about the lyrics and obviously the song in general, I'm pretty good to go. So it definitely helps to be prepared. Yeah. And so you recently another thing that can be a hindrance is trying something new. For
Yes.
example, especially with songs. So I know if I haven't spent the time for a new song, I'm like, oof, I
Oh
hope I
my
don't
gosh.
mess it up. It's like, oof, hope I don't mess this one up. Especially when it's like someone else's music. My music, I can just kind of work my way through it. But someone else's music, you definitely want to, honor, respect their music. But trying something new, which you recently did with your last concert that you did, your release concert.
Yes,
Tell
yes,
us about
yes.
that. Oh, you
Yes,
froze
so
again. Okay, there we go.
I recently had a album release concert back in April, and I just can't believe this time. The time has flown by. We already in July.
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway, I had an album release concert in April, and with that, these were all new songs. These were all songs that I had took on the challenge to write myself, and I had set a goal for myself, and I said I want to release an album where it's a work of art for me. It's like it's my creation as a songwriter,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like when you have artists that release music, it's one thing to release songs that somebody else writes. But then I also believe that when you write your own songs, I just believe that there's such a different like aura. And I feel like the place from which the lyrics and even the delivery of the songs, they come from a more authentic place when you write them yourself.
Mm.
I have always felt this way. I truly feel like the artists that have written their own songs years ago, like let's take for example, what songs put me in that frame of mind? Like 90s music, like
Mm-hmm.
90s R&B music really put me in the mind of like this artist is really singing from their heart. They're really bearing their heart. They're being authentic. They're not being someone else, but they're singing from their heart. There's like
Mm-hmm.
when they sing these words, it's coming from a place of experience versus just singing songs that somebody else wrote. But um or even new artists put me in this mindset. Most times, new artists will write their own music, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about starting from the ground up, starting with what you have. When you start off, you don't always have a songwriting team. You have yourself, and so I feel like new artists that are singer songwriters that write their own music, that compose their own music, I just feel like they deliver the song from such an authentic place. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity is very important. So I feel like as artists, we have to know what's important for us. And so that's what made me decide to write the songs, because I'm like, I want
Mm-hmm.
these songs to come from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And there are art worship artists that I listen to and I like their music, but I just feel like when it's songs that are coming from me and it's saying exactly what I want the song to say, I love that. I love that authenticity, that
Mm-hmm.
transparency. And so I took a leap of faith and did that with the whole album. Now I've done it with singles, but I stepped out there and did it with the whole album. And
And what else did you do for your live performance?
also for my live performance, I play the piano live, which is something I have never done in front of an audience
That is
before.
awesome.
I've played it in my room.
And that
I've
is not
played it and
easy.
Leah heard me, but I've never played it for a live audience. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous that my hands were shaking, like
Yep.
while as I was trying to play. It's like I got like two good chords in, and then my hands started shaking. And then I'm like, okay, Marilyn, bring those hands back to the piano, bring those hands. And the way that I was moving, I was trying to like hide it from the audience.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play it off,
We
you
couldn't
know,
tell. We
because
couldn't tell.
because we're performers.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's another thing. I feel like understanding what you're there to do
Mm-hmm.
um, will also help to drive that fear away.
Yes.
I want to say every single last time I've gotten on stage to sing, I my heart started racing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, the dry mouth I mentioned to you guys earlier, but I
Mm-hmm.
think once we begin to focus in on the message and what it is that we're trying to get to the audience, our mind begins to be taken off of whatever things in the room that
Like
may
off a
present
display.
themselves
Yeah.
as a threat, and we just focus on the passion and the enjoyment of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what helps me.
Yep.
That's what helps me. That, and secondly, something that is very important is declaration. So something that I had began doing is before I sing is speaking verbal declarations over myself. As a singer, I'm a gospel artist, so for me, my faith is tied to my music. So with that, these declarations that I say, they're faith based for me. So, where I may feel afraid or I may feel like I don't have all the tools I need, or I feel like I might feel like I'm not up to par. Because I'll tell you, I'm not a singer that does all the runs. I'm not. I'm not her.
But
I'm not.
can. Y'all don't let her fool
However,
you.
I will give
Don't
you
let
a
her
nice
fool you.
what you say?
I said, y'all don't let her fool you. She can. She definitely can. You can hang.
Um, so for some people, that's their thing. Running is not my thing. However, I will throw
Me
a
neither.
run in there. I will throw one in there, but it's not like my go-to thing. But as it relates to just being authentic and getting out there and knowing what I'm talking about, knowing what I'm passionate about, and the message that I'm trying to get to the audience helps us to drive away that fear. But those declarations, I target the different things that may try to come up. So feeling inadequate, one of the phrases in the declaration that I say is, I have been given all spiritual gifts through Christ. I lack nothing. So saying those things repeatedly helps us to um, re- reshape and kind of like reframe the posture of our mind, because I believe it begins in the mind.
Yes, it does. I totally agree. Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because there was actually a recent time where I was feeling a little nervous. I had to sing for a funeral with some friends and family that I know, and as I was preparing to go up, I'm like, just felt a little nervous, and I'm like,
Mhm,
what's going on here?
mhm.
I don't normally. It's not often I feel nervous when I'm prepared, right? And so I was like, what is this? And immediately I was like, well, I'm not about to get up there nervous. I'm just gonna calm myself right here in this seat. And I was like, okay, just calm down, breathe deeply, took some breaths in and out, in and out, in and out, and then thought to myself, why are we here? Number one, this thing is not at all about me. And so let's just get in that frame of mind. What are we here for? We're here to celebrate someone's life. We're here to, you know, um, celebrate life in general. And let's shift that focus. And that really helped. And it really helps, to really reframe that mind. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. So good. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And I know you had mentioned it starts in life, like not just singing and not just performing, but also
Yes.
in life, like speaking and just in general. Sometimes we can have anxiety and stage fright just socially, with people that we're speaking to, one on
Mhm.
one, or a crowd, or whatever. And I think I remember you telling me
Mhm.
about a story at work or something like that. Do you remember that
Yes,
story?
I sure do. I
Tell us
sure
that
do.
story.
Yeah. So, there was a situation where I had to go and speak with someone at work, and for me, I feel like my body is like very in tune with like when I feel threatened, or if fear is trying to come on, I immediately know it. And
Mm-hmm.
so usually in times like when I have to go like speak with someone, or I need to go like be assertive, which for different people, different things I feel like come easier for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But for me specifically, I feel like being assertive has always been something that's been like more so like a challenge, because it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't immediately come naturally, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people would even describe themselves as being confrontational. And I feel like me, myself, I'm not naturally confrontational. However, I've come to the place where if I need to be confrontational, oh, I do. And they'll
Right.
know it. They'll know it. But it's like it's not something, or it's just like, oh, all I do is confront no matter
Right.
what. Like, no, that might not be natural for some people,
Right.
exhibit it. But anyway, so I had to go and speak with someone at work, and I immediately felt this fear come upon me. Um, and it's the same type of fear that can come upon you when you're about to hit the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized in coming to speak with these people, this was actually something that I recognized within myself, that, hey, Marilyn, you need to work on this. And every time you go to speak with someone doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that charges, girl. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, or that they're going to react to you negatively.
Mm-hmm.
But you will never know if you don't go and
Right.
confront and have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
this is something that I had been working on in my personal life.
Yes.
And I feel like for me, working on not walking in fear is I feel like it's a muscle, is what I want to say. So not walking in fear is definitely something that we have to work on continually. And I feel like if you don't have a handle on it in your personal life, it's going to be hard to do it as well on stage, because
Yep.
it's the same muscle. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
muscle of being assertive, expressing yourself confidently, not worrying about what others think about you. And so that's something that I had to come to the
Realization.
realization
Yes.
is that I can't walk in fear. Girl, these chargers
Yeah.
keep kicking, but I'm trying to get the charger
You
over
good,
here.
you good, you good.
Okay,
Yeah, that's so good.
so I'm here. Just Facebook can't see me right now, but that's
Oh.
all right.
Oh, you did go.
Um, but I had to come to the realization that I couldn't walk in fear in my daily life, because
Yes.
it's a muscle that I'm going to need for different
Yep.
areas of my life, including performing.
Yes. I
And
love that.
so it was something that I had continued to work on. And when it came to this particular day, I felt that fear at one point, but then I decided that I was going to be confident. I was going to
Hmm.
be
It's a decision.
it's a decision. And you know
And
what
there's a
else? I
process
was
into that.
confident because I realized that what I had to say was important. What I had to say was of value.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's important what I have to say, so I don't have to be afraid. And I feel like we can feel afraid because we don't know, or we may feel that we're inferior.
Hmm.
And that day, I was like, you know what? I am not inferior. I know what I've come here to say.
Hmm.
I'm important. I'm valuable. I'm competent. I'm amazing. And I feel
Hmm.
like I had to get that mindset
Yes.
before I went to go have this conversation.
Yep.
But as I was walking to have this conversation, it's like I was having this pep talk mentally. And so I truly believe that when it comes down to us performing and singing in here, that we have to already be building this muscle of recognizing the fear and then combating it.
Hmm. So good. So good. It makes me think about, I don't know, like in middle school and high school when you would have to like walk in front of everyone, either in the cafeteria or, in the line or, whatever. And that was something I used to practice at a young age, like how to have, how to talk my way into confidence. I think,
Mhm.
my parents did an amazing job of instilling that in us kids. But you have to practice it. You really do have to practice it. And so, whenever I would have those times where I would have to walk in front of people or speak in front of people, I would, like you said, give that pep talk, like, okay, it's okay, it's gonna be okay. Because even it's like we are artists, yes, and our profession does um, require us to be in the spotlight. But you don't always want to be in the spotlight. Sometimes you just kind of want to be chill in the back. And so, in those moments in school, I'm just thinking back now. In those moments, I would like pep talk myself up to even just walking in the cafeteria. Because I honestly, when I was young, I was very shy, and so I wasn't very nervous. I didn't really have a nervousness, but I was very shy and I didn't talk a lot. Um, and I had to work on it. I had to work on that. So, and still today, if you ever feel those, if I ever feel those nerves arise, I just have to work through it. And I think if you can figure out what tools work best for you, then you can work through it. But it is a practice. I think that's good. How you brought that up. It's definitely a practice. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Good, good, good. I guess we'll do one more thing here. Um, what would you say? Uh, okay, parts, two parts. What was your biggest takeaway from your concert, your release concert, since that was you had a lot of working through fear in that concert, which I'm sure made you a lot stronger. What was your biggest takeaway, and then what would you say to encourage others?
Yeah. I would say that my biggest takeaway, can I give two?
Hmm?
Can I give two takeaways?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So one was preparation. I feel like preparing for a
Now
concert,
I can't hear you on Instagram. Is your mic on?
yes, on, can you hear me
Okay,
right
now
now?
it's on. Okay, go ahead. Two
Can you
takeaways.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Um, I would say the first thing is preparation.
Mhm.
I feel like with putting on a concert, it's something that's totally different than doing, let's say, a solo song that you were invited to come and do for a program. You know, it's not a program that you're putting on. It's not a program that you're orchestrating. So that's it's two different things.
Mhm.
Coming to a performance is one thing, but putting on your own concert, is another. And
Yep.
so it's two different beasts. So number one is preparation, starting ahead of time. Um, I feel like with this concert, honestly, I feel like there were some things that I probably could have done differently just to kind of give myself a bit more grace, to be a little more kind to myself in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
how much I had to push and things like that to make sure that different aspects were covered. But I still feel like it was successful, but just behind the scenes, I feel like there were some things I could have done differently
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to kind of better prepare. But the second takeaway is that there are times where you will feel afraid and you will feel like you don't have what it takes to complete something. With a concert, it's such a big thing. It's so many moving pieces, and I feel like at different times I wanted to give up. I was afraid of the outcome. I didn't know um, what would happen with this. You know, different things mixed and engineered. Which he's amazing by the way. But there's different pieces that go into recording and mastering the songs, working with other musicians to make sure that they have their parts recorded properly. That nothing's bleeding through that to where it makes it where we can't even use it.
Yep.
But with that, there were so many times where I felt afraid and I wanted to give up. But what I constantly had to do was continually go back to, for me, like I said, my faith is very important and it's very um, integral for me. So it's a main part of me and who I am. So there were many times I went back to prayer and I had to just pray and say, God, please help me, Lord. This is how I feel right now. I feel like giving up. I don't know how this is going to turn out exactly with this, but Lord, I pray that you would cause everything to work together, cause everything to work out. Um, and then dealing with all of that, coming on stage, knowing that there were different things that didn't go well. I think that actually the night of the concert, there's a situation where there was something going on with my mic.
Mm.
And I could have stopped the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's so many things I could have done, but I decided to just keep going, and I decided to keep going as if nothing, nothing happened. Like the audience didn't know, but it's that determination to keep going and that determination to win. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like also is very helpful and very important when we talk about stepping out there, doing the unknown, doing something new, and seeing through fear. We have to be determined to win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice. That's good. And a little bit of encouragement. If you care to sing a little bit of encouragement.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, so listen, I'm trying to make it back to my computer, these chargers.
Look,
I don't know.
Facebook like, where's she at?
I don't know if they can still hear me on Facebook or not.
I
I
think
don't.
so. Yeah.
They can.
Let me see.
Okay. I hope they can. But okay. So let's see.
Okay, my bad.
Oh no worries.
All right, here we go.
But okay. So let's see. Ooh, I got the perfect one. We're talking about fear. Everybody singing through fear. If you're not a singer, I think. What's up, 21? Stay down. He's a rapper. What's up?
Okay, 21, stay down.
Hey. Um. So he's not a singer, but he raps. But I'm
Nice.
sure any performer can
Yes.
say that they sometimes experience fear, and sometimes experience things where they feel discouraged and want to give up.
Mm.
So with that, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, speak the word
applause, 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 applause. Yes, beautiful. Thank you for doing that. Your lovely voice. I love your voice. Awesome. Well, this was great. We could talk all night. I already know. And I can definitely talk all day about this too. So thank you guys for joining in. Thank you, Marilyn, for sharing your story. And again, it's a journey, just like anything in life. But we are all here doing the same thing, just trying to be better, trying to do better, and share our gifts as the Lord has given us. So thank you again. This was our Chat with Friends series, day one. So everybody, it's going to be every Monday for the month of July and August. So Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can follow Marilyn at Marilyn Wright underscore. It's in the title. So definitely go and follow her and support her. Her music is out. So go and support that and run it up. So again, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
You trying